So this is the first news story that I want to talk about today, and it comes as no surprise. Well, it is kind of surprising just because I can't think of anything else that is similar to this situation before. That situation being PlayStation, according to Variety. PlayStation to shut down new game Concord 2 weeks after launch will refund players. So I'll read this brief and I'll share my thoughts on the game. Or at least just the creation of it and all the controversy surrounding it. PlayStation will be taking its new Firewalk developed live service game Concord offline this Friday, issuing refunds to players just 2 weeks after its August 23rd launch. The team-based first-person shooter game is reported to have drawn a historically small audience during its initial availability across PlayStation 5 and PC, with third-party PC-based gaming data website SteamDB showing 30 current in-game players at the time of the publication on Tuesday. That is nuts. That's absolutely insane. At the peak in its short history, Concord had 697 concurrent players, drastically low for a PlayStation new release, and ranked toward the bottom of PlayStation's weekly sales charts. In Concord, which has largely been compared to popular multiplayer shooter Overwatch, it's a hero shooter. Players assemble a crew of free gunners, space outlaws, and the spacecraft North Star for online games between two teams, 5 members. Hero shooter, bullshit, chat. And they did release a statement from this is the Concord devs. Concord fans. I don't know. I put quotation marks around fans, personally. That's just me. I don't mean to be a dick. I don't mean to be mean. But I put quotation marks around fans, but fair enough. Concord fans. We've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC. I want to thank everyone who has joined the journey about the North Star. Honestly, I think they could have just, direct message. They could have just DM'd all the people that were playing the game. I don't know if they had to make a press release. Just send it out to the 30-plus people that might still be playing it, and then you kind of covered your bases. This was kind of unnecessary. Firewalk Studios game director Ryan Ellis. I'm being such a dick. Director Ryan Ellis wrote in a blog post published by the PlayStation Tuesday. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonate with players, we also recognize that other aspects, all 30 of them, of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. I'm sure. Therefore, at this time, we decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024. That's 3 days from now, chap. And explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 recently. I will say this. Usually when it comes to like a lot of live service games where, they don't make it like even within a year, they shut down a couple of months or whatever. Like that I know, but like this is kind of like unprecedented. I've never seen like an online game, multiplayer game, live service game, unless, correct me if I'm wrong though, but in my personal experience, I've never seen where they've shut down. They're about to shut down after 2 weeks. That to me is kind of crazy. That's insane. But good on them and good on PlayStation, Sony for offering full refunds for the game for both PlayStation players and PC players. That's a classy move. I do appreciate that. Per PlayStation customers who purchase Concord from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct will receive a refund to the original payment method, while Steam, Epic Games Store, and physical copies will be refunded through those respective digital storefronts and retailers. Once refunded, players will lose access to the game. I don't think those 30 players are going to be too upset by that. But yeah, I remember when I first saw stuff. I think when we all first saw stuff from this game, the initial trailer. I remember like the initial like CGI sequence. Like this is kind of cool, new sci-fi universe. But as soon as it was revealed, as soon as they started to show like that gameplay, and that it was going to just be another hero shooter. A 5v5 hero shooter, much like Overwatch. I was like, yeah, I'm good, because there's so many of those types of games out right now. There's so many live service games out right now, and it's a market that is so overly saturated. Like, I don't understand the thinking of PlayStation, of Jim Ryan, who was originally in charge of this and now is not, I think for obvious reasons. He left apparently on his own accord. I doubt that. I think he was probably like, you got to go. You got to get the hell out of here. All your poor decisions that you made. Because this isn't like the only live service project that Sony has. They have like so many live service projects. They have like their premier AAA studios. Many of them were like working on these live service titles. From Naughty Dog to right now even Bungie, which is in turmoil as I speak. Like Marathon, and Naughty Dog was going to be doing like a live service Last of Us multiplayer game, which I thought that was a huge mistake to begin with. And this is just the latest casualty. And it's crazy because apparently this game had eight years of development, and it's died within 2 weeks. I can't think of anything else that is as big of a failure, you know? I mean, this year, maybe you can compare it slightly to Rocksteady's Suicide Squad, which is another live service game. They had a very tumultuous development and a lot of just just bad word of mouth after it released. But even before then, people were just like, this is not what we want from a single player studio. And again, you know, we live in a time where the live service game market is so overly saturated. It's like you just have these greedy executives and corporations that feel like, well, we're just, you know, put these all out there and players are going to play them. It's like, no, I mean, you have players that are like really dedicated to the live service experience that they have, but it's not as many as you would think. They're like maybe 1, 2, 3 at most I can think of. And so you're going to have to make like a really goddamn good product in order to get them to stop playing whatever that game is, their go-to live service titles, to come over to yours. Because if it's not, if it just feels like a knockoff, it feels like an Overwatch knockoff, then they're not going to come over. And clearly they did not. The fact that they had, barely 700 concurrent players at their peak, at least according to Steam DB, and then now it's like 30. That's the mean. That's the average. It's awful. It's a colossal failure. So, yeah, I mean, the writing was on the wall of this one. Sony had invested apparently a lot of money in this. Concord's going to be featured in that upcoming show, which I'm actually really excited about, that Secret Level show, which is going to be like an anthology series that, you know, is adapting various video games, everything from God of War to Mega Man. Apparently Concord's in there, which I wonder if they're going to even pull. I bet they'll pull that episode. Like, no, we're not going to show this. We'll see. And the fact that they say, like, oh, we're going to assess and we're going to, you know, come back and provide the game that people want, I don't think that's going to happen. The fact that they are doing all these refunds, they're taking the game offline, I think this is it. I think this is dead. Which, at this point, probably should be. How do you guys feel about this? I'm actually very curious to hear your thoughts on Concord. Did you even know about the existence of this game? Did anyone play it? I was actually thinking of checking out the beta like a while back just to say like, I fucking played it. But, you know, by the time I was going to, it was already like unavailable. So I was like, whatever. Let me go ahead and see what you guys are saying here. Very, very curious. Scrolling. Let's see. John Elfman. Why, hello, John Elfman. Good to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Just talking about Concord. The massive failure that is Concord. 8 years to develop and 2 weeks to die. Pretty goddamn sad. Also kind of funny, though. Isaac, there was that open world multiplayer zombie game the day before. Like, oh, that's right. That's an excellent comparison. The day before, that got delisted in its first week, but it was also, it was a scam. You're right. It was an actual scam. This is unheard of for a console title outside of Cyberpunk 2077. It's just unheard of just from like just a major publisher, you know? And it's so crazy that Sony and the Jim Ryan controlled Sony had invested so much in live services, not thinking like, what, the market just be oversaturated and you're just killing your developers. And Sony is also, they're a premier single player studio. When you think of Sony games, you think of these AAA cinematic single player experiences. That's why I think a lot of people get, you know, a PlayStation is for those types of games. You know, really the PlayStation 4 especially. And, you know, we thought that's what the PlayStation 5 generation would be, too. And it's not to say they haven't had some bangers. They absolutely have. God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 and maybe a few other things in between. But it's not as good as the PlayStation 4 generation, what they were offering. Because of these horrible decisions that were made. Bugstaff 260 was another one that was just rejected. Yep. Hillman, I feel bad. The first I've heard of Concord is, being counted. There you go. The fact that goes to show you, like, they just were not able to get a groundswell of support. There was just a general disinterest of this title, you know, from the very beginning. I mean, the fact that it just looked like so many other things that we have been seeing for the last decade. Everything, again, whether it be Overwatch or even things from different mediums like Guardians of the Galaxy. People are like, I like those things, but I don't need something that's derivative of those things. So, yeah. Rocksteady hit with, I read about that today. They were hit with layoffs, too. Hit with layoffs after Suicide Squad to perform, but I'm sure the higher-ups get to, they'll fill upwards. They'll be fine. Don't worry. They already pocketed their bonuses for this year. Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers Games is, Warner Brothers, because of all the horrible decisions that David Zaslav and his cronies have made, Like Warner Brothers is probably the worst place in its history, like ever financially, and like now their gaming division is just in complete shambles, and they're going to be selling off or renting these licenses to various other publishers and developers to make video games. You know, since they've kind of fucked that division so thoroughly into the ground. Yep, Soldier Blue says game wasn't even my radars. That's the thing. So people actually knew about this. That's interesting to me, despite it being a like premier Sony, you know, title. Like, I mean, and most people I think know like when a big Sony game is about to be released. Like, people know when the next Uncharted is going to be released. People know when like a God of War is going to be released, or a Spider-Man, right? And like so few people, just based on some of the people in the chat, they didn't even know about this title. Colossal failure. I didn't even know that Concord was out until it came out and flopped. There you go. Or, excuse me, I didn't even know what Concord was until it came out and flopped. There you go. 4K, I seen the gameplay. It did look decent, but also was not interested in it. I believe they also had a lower player base on Steam. I think it was around 90. I think right now it's in the 30s. I think it started out like just under 700, which is still abysmal. Still terrible. Like, that's launch. That's like launch. But then, like, right now, I guess the last week it's been, like, in the 30s, which is awful. Like, on the weekends, in the 30s, which is crazy. People can't even find matches right now. And I think, like, total, like, worldwide across both platforms, both PC and PlayStation, PS5, it's sold, estimated, and this is a pretty generous estimation, 25,000 units, like, worldwide over the course of 2 weeks, or nearly 2 weeks. It's like, oh my God. It's such a failure. Console Return is free to play. I mean, and that's the other thing I heard of, the fact that that they released it's not even like truly a free to play game. The fact that they're already charging, I think they knew, just, you know, leading up to it, just the general disinterest, and maybe they knew when it would be, but it was too late. That it was already such a thoroughly saturated market. Like, we got to get some money out of this thing, but now it's just been such a huge failure that, you know, now they're offering refunds, which I do appreciate. That's good, at least. I do like that. Oh, but I mean, if it does reach, I don't know, like, how can it even return now at this point? Like, okay, it'll return just as a free to play game, and see, but then you got to like support it. You have the service for it. Like, at that point, I think, like, why even bother if you're going to have like a player base that maybe it might double, maybe you might get 120 or excuse me, no, not, I'm being too generous. You might get 60 worldwide. So I don't know. And most people that I talk about are just kind of clowning on it right now. And that's the other thing, too. It just looks so generic. The character models look really bad. You know, it's just like nothing about them really popped or stood out. It was, at least what I've seen of it. I follow this gameplay content creator on YouTube. His name is Luke Stevens. And he's covered a lot of Concord stuff and just kind of like the marketing for the game and how it's being viewed by a lot of people. And he's like, this thing's not going to do it. This thing's going to be dead on arrival. And yeah, he actually, I think, covered its failure today. The fact that it's going offline today. Or excuse me, going offline on September 6th, this weekend. Let's see. But yeah, I'd be curious if it is going to return. Maybe as a last-ditch effort, but I think the damage is already done. It's too thoroughly damaged. Don't know if you remember that game Superior we played on Steam one time. Yes, I do. I do remember that game, but some of the devs and artists on that moved on to work on Concord, and they're not surprised about this. Yeah. Even internally, they knew. Bad Boy, I've never seen any ads for this game, but I have been seeing ads for Valorant. Valorant's very popular. Valorant's like, you know, that's one of those very successful live service free-to-play games. Which, frankly, all these shooters just look alike. Yeah, that's a problem. That's an issue. See, Blair Blaze is now in the mid-20s. Yay! Oh, Christ. Want me to be your sponsor? Won't be able to be your sponsor Concord streamer. I know. I could have done it. Chat, I could be the top Concord player on Twitch right now. But I don't want to spend $40. And I'm only going to have 3 days to play it anyway. Oh, Lord. Yeah, look at Riot Games. They're coming out with their next big title as a free-to-play game. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Does return to a free-to-play game will even... Yeah, it's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it does return to be proper free-to-play, which I shouldn't even say free-to-play. It's not. It's live service. I should just say live service. We'll even play it. And I think that's the answer I think that it's going to be is no. You might get maybe like a brief pop of 100 or so players, but nah. Nah, not looking good. Not looking good shit. But yeah, I wanted to cover Concord's failure. I thought it'd be interesting. Also be interesting just for the gameplay channel in general. I'll start doing this more on a consistent basis. Just like a particular like gameplay news story or trailer that catches my eye. I thought it'd be like, interesting to generate nice conversation, nice discussion. You guys brought up some great points though. I am curious if it's actually going to come back and in what capacity. We'll see. We'll see. But it's another high profile live service game failure for this year. And the year's not even over yet. I'm sure there's going to be another launch of another either free-to-play game or live service game we don't even fucking know about. Even I don't even know about. It's probably going to flop on its face. We'll find out. We'll see. We'll see. But I was also given a trailer for this movie here. Let's check this out, chat. We'll do this. We'll move on to my Terminator Zero review. KC, good to see you. Just saw I pop out there, but that's the thing. With live service games, just another way for game companies to generate more revenue from skins. No, 100%. You're right. Yeah, I mean, that's how they stay afloat. People do spend money. I mean, that's why you have, like, some skins, weapon skins, like character skins for, like, Call of Duty that literally sell for, like, $50, some even $100, And, like, you have these publishers that their thinking is, well, if we just put all our studios on this, and if one of those things hit, then it'll be a huge success, and their minds will be worth it. But you could potentially be sinking like all these developers, and that's what's happening. Then this causes like all these layoffs, right? We are seeing that right now with Suicide Squad. We're seeing that right now with Bungie. Rocksteady. We're seeing that right now with Rocksteady. We're seeing that right now with Bungie. I'm probably going to be seeing it with the developer of Concord, and so many others, in between. Yeah. Chris keeps buying those Sonic skins. I gotta juice, gotta go fast. Of course. I can't say I'm sad about live service fails. I'm not sad about it either. Not to say that I don't play live service games or free to play games. I do. I played Helldivers. I really enjoyed Helldivers. Still want to actually play it despite it kind of falling off. I just played Fortnite last week. I'm like, yeah, but it goes back to it. Like, you have to do something really fucking impressive as a publisher and developer, to get of a live service or free to play game to have that audience, which again, and that market, which is always very saturated, to have them stop playing their live service or free to play game of choice and then go over to yours and try it out and then stick with it. Like, something like that to me is extremely intimidating, and I think only now, I think this generation we are going to see in the back half, we're going to see just a lot more of these live service games fail, and hopefully the next generation, it won't be as oversaturated. But like a lot of these titles, like, they need to come out, and I think there's another big live service free to play game that's coming from Ubisoft. I want to say, I can't remember the fucking name of it, but I don't think that one has like a future. That one also just has a lot going against it too. But we'll see. We'll see.